In the intro to Chovos, halevovos, duties of the heart, as translated by Rabbi Yosef sebag, we know that the intentions are to point out the good and right way, to serve as a guide to the customs of the earlier stages and the discipline of the pious, to awaken men from their senseless sleep, delve into detail into the depths of this wisdom, recall to men the knowledge of God and of His Torah, promote the salvation of the Torah and encourage the observant, stir up the negligent, set the eager on the right road, and straighten the early, guide the beginner, show the way to the perplexed, and be comprehensive and adequate to the matters. Now, Chovos halevovos, duties of the heart, was written by Rabbeinu bacheya ibn pekuda. In the book God versus Gods, Rabbi Reuven Chaim Klein says in Shemos, Exodus 8:22, the Egyptians stoned those who dishonored their God. The Egyptians stoned those who dishonored their God, and in halacha, an idolater is liable for execution and stoning. Mishnah Sanhedrin 7, 1, 2, 3, and 4 goes into detail the 4 types of death penalty by the court. 1, burning, submerged to the knees in dung and place a rough scarf within a soft one wrapped around his neck, and the 2 witnesses each pull aside till his mouth is open, and another lights a wick and throws it in his mouth. It burns his intestines, but Rabbi Yehuda says better to open the mouth with prongs, and so he doesn't accidentally die by choking strangulation, which is a different mitzvah. 2, decapitation is beheading by a sword. Rabbi Yehuda says that that's degrading. Rather, they place his head on a block and chop his head with a cleaver. 3, strangulation, submerged up to the knees in dung and place a rough scarf in a soft one, and they 2 witnesses pull each side till his soul departs. 4, stoning. Man has intercourse with his mother, with his mom or his father's wife, or male, or a daughter-in-law, or an animal, or a woman, or betrothed young woman, virgin, or anyway, basically has intercourse with an animal, or blasphemy, says God's name and curses it, idol worship, give offspring to Molech, necromancer, sorcerer, Shabbos desecrator, child who curses mother and father, inciter to idol worship, a warlock, a stubborn rebellious son, a subverter who entices an entire city to idol worship. And the animal is also stoned to death, by the way, in the situations where there's an animal. In Mishnah Sanhedrin 6:4, the stoning is described as pushing him by the hips to a place 2 times his height, and if he didn't die, the second witness threw a stone on him, and if he still doesn't die, stoned by all Israel, and those who are stoned are hanged, but not overnight. Rabbi Eliezer says that all but the sages say that only the blasphemer. Rabbi Eliezer says all but the sages say all of them, but the sages say only the blasphemer and the idolater are hung, and it's described as being hung by the hands on a piece crossed over the top of a post. In Mishnah Sanhedrin 9, there's 1, burns for intercourse with a daughter's daughter, son's daughter, daughter of his wife, or his daughter, woman and her daughter, daughter of a priest, commits adultery, intercourse with his mother-in-law and her mother-in-law, and the father of his father-in-law. And 2, the Mishnah Sanhedrin 9 says decapitation is for the murderer, the residents of an idolatrous city. Strangulation, 3, not mentioned in the Torah, probably invented as a humane way to kill by the rabbis. And then we have intro to Chovos halevovos, duties of the heart, by Rabbeinu bacheya ibn pekuda, and a quote here. It's part of prudence not to be overly prudent. And this is the translation by Rabbi Yosef sebag in part 80. In ketubot 17a in the Talmud, it says, a king who relinquished his honor is not relinquished. A king cannot give up his honor. Rambam, Maimonides, in hilchot Melachim 2:6 says, just as the Torah grants him great honor, everyone is obligated to honor him, the king, so too he's commanded that his heart be lowly within him and hollow, as it says, and my heart is hollow within me. Psalm by King David, tehillim 109:22. He should not be overly arrogant towards the Jewish people. He should be pardoning and merciful and gracious and compassionate towards the lower and upper classes alike, and he should spare the respect of the most humblest minor citizen, and he should be involving himself in the good and welfare of everyone. He should always behave with great humility, and he should bear their business and their burden and their complaints and their fury as the nurse carried the suckling. The verse calls him a shepherd in Psalm tehillim 78:71, and Isaiah yeshayahu 40:11 describes the shepherd as he shall pasture his flock like a shepherd. He shall gather the lambs with his arm and carry them in his bosom. There's none greater than Moses, our teacher, yet in Exodus, Shemos 16:8, it says, he said, what are we? Your complaints are not against us. In devarim 17:20, it says he shouldn't lift up his heart above his brothers. This is really idea that a king also shouldn't do that. When he speaks to the people as a community, the king should speak gently, as in Chronicles, divrei hayamim, the book of Chronicles 1, chapter 28, verse 2, it states, "Listen, my brothers and my people." And in Kings Melachim 1:12-7, it says, "If today you'll be a servant to these people." In Proverbs, Mishlei 25:3, "The heart of the king is unfathomable." In Proverbs 21:1, it says, "The heart of a king is in the hands of God." There was a workshop I attended with Michel. He's a love expert. He says healing attachment to love comes from being able to stop defining it or attaching certain behaviors, circumstances, and attributes to it. Learning about what love means to me individually helps heal the ouches when I don't feel loved or loving or lovable due to my interpretations. For example, when I say I love puppies, I really mean I love the sweetness and joy inside of me that they reflect. Or when I say I love nature, I really mean I love the connection and groundedness I have inside of me that it reflects. When I say I love you, it's really you reflecting inside of me what I really mean I love. So that could be comfort or beauty, presence or kindness. My answers, for example, were love is freedom, when I feel their trust and respect. What I want from my family and friends is understanding, when I feel welcomed and accepted. What I want from job and work is appreciation, when I feel their reciprocity and gratitude. What I want from my partner or spouse is effort, when I feel their thoughtfulness and loyalty. Rabbi weinbaum talks about, he says we have to stay lit. We're all in it together. We're trying to stay bright. We're trying to stay aflame. It's brave to feel our pain so we don't put it on others. And in order to have a big inner fire, we need a deep enlightening and flaming to keep illuminated. When we feel lonely or drained, it's because we let ourselves get extinguished. We must be maintained, like, for example, an eating and sleeping regimen required each day. I had a talk with a woman, her name is Shayna Vogel. We talked about self-care, that we're smarter than we think. This is what I said. I said, let's do a self-care talk. I said, you're smarter than you think. I give you love and acceptance. And I'm talking to myself also. Hashem made you a beautiful girl. It's okay if you make mistakes. It's not your fault. You're still nice and beautiful, and you still have more chances. It must be hard for you. I don't want you to be sad. I'll stay with you when you feel sad. And this is what you tell yourself. Not just talking to her, I'm talking to myself. But I'm teaching her how she could speak to herself. You're amazing to me. You're safe, and your feelings, and you're safe to feel your feelings and safe to express yourself. You can make it through anything, and I'll be right here for you. You're brave just to see the truth. Nobody can read your mind, and you cannot read anyone's. You'll always have me with you inside your heart. We all have hard days sometimes. I love you. You're doing the best you can. You're not alone. I'm on your team. People's mistakes and problems are not my fault or responsibility. We're all practicing dan lekavschus, because as soon as someone knows better, they do better. And illusions that I've been holding on to, fantasies and beliefs that I can let go of to be in my truest, most powerful reality, that I can convince or persuade someone to love me, that I can ensure future survival by having money now in the bank, that old emotional baggage, karmic stories I'm holding on to, where I can create more space for the wild, untamed aspects of my soul to come and flourish, that I am lazy and obstinate, that I'm hard to love and not beautiful, and people will control me with money, and I cannot be myself because everyone will reject me and abandon me eventually, so it's better to be unavailable and manipulative. So I think getting in touch with my feelings and senses by doing more mindful exercise and meaningful paid work, so my masculine aspects can strengthen and empower, and my feminine can be more, flowing and surrendering and self-trusting, and both can come together to bring me forward into health and vitality and abundance and balance. Amen. Can you hear its own Shavua Tov to all of us with all of that? And what is a daily ritual I can commit to? I said maybe to do the Aleph Bays, Sphirot, and 4 world touch points in my meditation and the light in and out circuitry visualization. So I try to do all of that. And I think we'll stop here and we'll continue with next time with some similar topics. All the best. Bye.